Okay, this video is for adults only, and it's not any form of counseling or advice or anything along that line. And it's about when an adult first meets another adult, and later on they find out how that person is a toxic person. Now, I tend to see people with it's not a technical term, but as a mixture of narcissistic and histrionic behaviors, and not the disorders, but that's not a diagnose. But their behaviors are similar to both, a combination, a blend. And these are some people, some of them, they don't all do the same. One size doesn't fit all. But some people would see them as adult mean girls. It can be men too. So, but they're adults and the way they behave. So I'm going to continue on to talk about this type. Okay, I'll set up a little hypothetical fictional scene and to use as an example. Say it's someplace you are starting something new. Say it could be a business, a gym, or a new doctor's office, and even a job, something along this line when when you're new to it, but other people are not, that are there are not new to it. And so you're meeting everybody for the first time. You don't know anybody there. You've never spoken to anybody there, not even over the phone. So you go in to meet them. And overall, everybody is nice, courteous, respectful toward you. They don't do anything that's in any way, shape, form, or fashion that's negative. And you feel really comfortable about it. And so whatever it is, you join or you keep the job, or whatever it is, you decide to stay there and continue on. Now, in the past, you were a victim of this type of person, the toxic person or toxic people. So you know about red flags. You know, as many say, trust your gut. But because of this, it's the first time, you're more paying attention to the place, to what's the whole surrounding. You're not paying attention to each individual, but more taking it all in. Or maybe you're experiencing some kind of first day jitters, if it's a job, or just being overwhelmed with, say, a new business, if it's a business, a doctor's office, filling out paperwork. Something is distracting you. So you're not really tuned in to each individual person that you're meeting. And it could be that they're just shaking your hand or taking the paperwork from you if you're joining something like a gym, and you don't see anything that would set off those, you would see as red flags and set off those warnings in you. So at first, you don't have that. Okay, let's make it a place where you're filling out some kind of paperwork when you first go in. And the person who is accepting your paperwork, or gave you the paperwork and is accepting it back, is the person who later on you realize is a rather toxic person. And you don't know the people, everybody's title, but one of the people standing around, excuse me, is the person's supervisor. So the person handing you the paper is very nice, very courteous person, but the supervisor is behind that person. So that at first you're not seeing this, like I said, this person is toxic. Later on, you will. So your first day, no problems. You hand in the paperwork and do whatever it is that you're there to do. And but later on, after the first time, the next time you go back, everything seems to have changed with that person, that toxic person. Let's say it's a woman, the person who takes your information. Now, the next time you go in, she is the person at the front desk. And she is by herself this time. And you notice she's not quite as friendly. She seems more indifferent this time. Nobody else is around to witness how she's behaving. And you think nothing of it. You just continue on what you're there for. But when you're leaving, however, she is with somebody else, apparently somebody who works in that front area also. And that's when you get that gut feeling. That's when you get a little odd feeling that is she being rude? Is she directing something toward you? You're not sure, but it's like a little bit, see something that looks like a smirk on her face. Now, some might call it a narcissistic smirk, I call it a histrionic smirk. It's just a toxic person kind of smirk toward the other person. And you think maybe it has nothing to do with you at all. Now, as I said earlier, you learn to trust your gut. And your gut was telling you something. So the next time you go in and you see her, you see this kind of behavior even more. She may be rolling her eyes toward, say somebody's with her, somebody who's not her supervisor, not in any, management position. She'll look at you and look at the other person and roll her eyes, or maybe she'll shake her head in your direction and roll her eyes. And have that smirk the whole while, like there's some kind of inside joke between that person and you. That person and her about you. And that's when you know you really don't want to be paranoid, but you think, okay, no, I don't need that in my life, and so I'm going to find ways to avoid this person. Say, if it's at a job, is there another door, or can you just walk by and not do anything but maybe nod or just not look? And if it's not a job, maybe, you can find out somehow, through observation, what is her schedule. So you don't have to be around her. You don't have to even see her, notice her, or anything. And so you do that. That's one way. There are various ways people handle this kind of situation. Maybe you have complained. But what are you complaining about? Is she saying something to you is that you can complain about? Or just learn how to avoid her all around. Because like I said, you don't need this kind of hassle in your life. You don't need to be dealing with somebody who some people would call a mean girl. And this type of person could cause you a lot of problems. I have seen it myself that they do. They escalate each time, and they're enjoying your response. If they're getting some kind of response from you, it's a thrill. Some people say just go gray rock. You basically behave like a gray rock. You don't give them anything to go on. As I said, none of this is any form of counseling or advice. This is really something I'm telling myself because I am experiencing it now. And what I see is that this person can cause me some problems. So I've learned, somewhat learned when this person will not be there, and just to be able to pass by and not really notice. And this person could taint everybody that would be there. So it's best to try to avoid. That's what I'm telling myself. It's best to avoid this person at all costs. Because once they taint that, it's just like the video I just made. They'd love to ruin things for people. This type, not everybody. It's not 100%. Other people are nice. But they like to ruin it, so they taint it. They start some kind of gossip, or some, just like I said, an inside joke about you to make you feel uncomfortable, and the other people to spread it around. This is what you are, or whatever they say. And this person might do that to get you to, like I said, ruin it for you, to get you to stop, just to, if it's someplace you go, a place of business, you just stop, you go somewhere else. It's like a power and control game, that if you're going to return, they're going to keep doing it, and if you run across them, they will keep doing it, because they want that power, they want that control over what you do. Anybody, any person, it's more like you are not a human, you're just an object for their fun. So, as I said, to try to avoid this person. Now, it could be that I used to say that there's always that one. that one person who is who causes problems in various ways, or one way or various ways, not always the same. And that is the person to avoid at all possible. That's what I'm telling myself. But I kind of want to see what happens with this one. And is there more than one? And that of having to give up something that I find as, is what I want, it's not, I've seen it in my life, and I've had to do it, give it up, because it just became too much. So I'm hoping that in this one I've caught it early enough, and it will go my way instead of being, at the mercy, basically, of somebody who is this mean girl type, whether male or female. This toxic person that is out for control, is wanting to humor themselves, or whatever they're feeling. That's their thing, but they're making it difficult for me. No, I'm hoping to see what happens, and it works out for me. Now that I'm more and more aware. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. But if you have had an experience like this and you want to care to share in what you did, this is not advice for anybody else. What you're giving is just your experience. Leave a comment below, and if you want to subscribe, click that circle icon that pops up. The other ones are other videos on this channel. Talk to you on another video.